Chosen one. You did not arrive here by chance or curiosity. You were drawn by divine timing and heavenly appointment. In this moment, heaven has aligned its clock with your life, and something long prepared is now ready to be revealed. Anointed one. You are standing at the edge of a supernatural shift, a divine transfer that goes beyond money and touches destiny itself. Scripture says the wealth of the wicked is laid up for the righteous, and tonight that word breathes again. Feel it stirring in your spirit. This is not imagination. This is instruction. Stay present, stay receptive, and let your faith rise. What is being released next was reserved specifically for you. Chosen one, listen closely. What you are hearing right now is not symbolism or exaggeration. It is revelation. There are moments when heaven interrupts ordinary systems, and when it does, everything that once made sense begins to tremble. This is one of those moments. You're not watching this because you were bored or curious. You were pulled here because something has already shifted in the unseen, and your awareness is now being invited to catch up. Anointed one. There are alarms that go off in the spirit long before blessings show up in the natural. Sometimes those alarms sound like confusion, delay, or pressure. Sometimes they feel like resistance coming from unexpected places. You have felt that lately. Doors that should have opened slowly resisted. Conversations felt heavier. Even simple decisions carried unusual weight. That was not opposition meant to stop you. That was confirmation that what is coming is larger than what you have ever handled before. I want to tell you something personal. There were seasons in my own life when I wondered why I had to struggle quietly while others seemed to advance loudly. I prayed prayers I never shared. I carried responsibilities no one applauded. And there were moments I questioned whether heaven had gone silent. Looking back now, I understand something I did not then. Heaven was not ignoring me. Heaven was preparing capacity. What God releases suddenly must be matched by a soul that has been stretched deeply. Chatanpai. Chantabwan. Heaven knows what you survived without becoming bitter. Heaven knows what you carried without becoming proud. That is why this moment is not random. Scripture says, God gives seed to the sower, not to the watcher, not to the complainer, to the one who kept moving even when the field looked empty. That is you. What is approaching your life is not just provision. It is proof that your obedience mattered. There is also a warning wrapped inside this blessing. Every divine transfer attracts distraction. Every supernatural door attracts counterfeit hands. That is why your focus right now matters more than you realize. The enemy does not need to destroy what God is doing. He only needs to distract you long enough to delay your response. That is why you felt that pull to scroll away, to postpone, to come back later. Later is often where miracles expire. Chosen one, stay present. This is not about fear, it is about alignment. Heaven responds to awareness. When you lean in spiritually, things begin to unlock that effort alone could never open. There are blessings that respond only to recognition. Recognition says, I see what God is doing. I honor this moment. I'm ready to receive responsibly. I need you to hear this clearly. What is being released is not being handed to you because you are special in comparison to others. It is being entrusted to you because you are positioned. Position is built through endurance, humility, and faithfulness when no one is watching. That is why this feels weighty. Destiny often feels heavy right before it becomes joyful. Anointed one, breathe for a moment. Let your spirit settle. If your heart feels like it is beating faster, that is not anxiety. That is resonance. Something in you recognizes this moment. You have been here before in smaller ways. That quiet nudge, that inner knowing. This is simply a louder version. Do not rush ahead. Do not look for the ending yet. What comes next will explain why this interruption happened now and why timing is everything. Stay with me. We are just beginning to uncover what heaven has already signed in your name. Chosen one. Now that your spirit is settled, let me take you deeper. What is unfolding is not a story about money alone. It is a revelation about authority. Wealth is simply the language this message uses to get your attention, but the true transfer happening right now is positional. Heaven is responding to alignment, not desperation. There are moments when God allows systems to shake because they were never meant to be your source. Banks, titles, contracts, people, even institutions are temporary containers. When heaven wants to reveal itself, it will deliberately overwhelm those containers, so they are forced to admit this did not come from us. That is why the system could not explain what was happening. That is why nothing logical fit. Divine provision often enters through impossible math. I want you to reflect honestly for a second. Think about how many times you survived without backup. How many seasons you held things together with prayer and discipline alone. How many nights you kept going when there was no visible reward. That was not wasted effort. That was training. You were learning how to steward weight before weight ever arrived. I remember a season where everything looked quiet on the outside, but internally I was being pressed. Responsibilities increased, pressure increased, expectations increased, and yet recognition did not. At the time, I thought something was wrong. Later, I realized something sacred was happening. God was strengthening my inner framework so that when acceleration came, it would not destroy me. Blessings move fast. Character must already be in place, anointed. One, heaven saw that you did not quit when quitting would have been understandable. You did not compromise when compromise would have been easier. That matters more than you know. Scripture reminds us that promotion does not come from the east or the west, but from God alone. That is not poetry. That is a system. And that system is active right now in your life. But hear me clearly. Every divine moment has a test of focus. That is why the message keeps urging you to stay, to listen, to not disengage. This is not manipulation. This is spiritual reality. Awareness is a key. When you stay present, you signal readiness. When you drift, you delay access. Heaven honors attention. There are people who missed their moment, not because they were unworthy, but because they were distracted. They assumed the door would stay open indefinitely. It rarely does. Divine windows open, accomplish their purpose, and then move. That is why urgency accompanies this message, not panic. Urgency, the kind that says, do not treat this like background noise. Chosen one. There is also opposition, because what you are stepping into affects more than just you. Your breakthrough disrupts certain power structures. It changes narratives. It silences voices that once doubted. That is why resistance often appears right before release. Not to stop you, but to reveal who was never meant to cross into the next season with you. Let me ground this for you. This does not mean you wake up tomorrow with trillions in a bank account. It means you step into favor that accelerates outcomes. It means conversations shift. Decisions lean in your direction. Opportunities multiply faster than effort. It means provision finds you instead of you chasing it. That is supernatural supply, anointed one. What is required of you now is not striving, it is agreement. Agreement says, I accept that God can do this without my control. I release the need to understand every step. I choose trust over tension. That posture unlocks things effort never could. You may feel a mix of excitement and sobriety right now. That is normal. Big assignments carry both. Joy and responsibility often arrive together, but you are not walking into this unprepared. You have already been shaped by pressure. You already know how to stay grounded. Heaven would not release this if you were not ready to carry it well. Stay with me. Chosen one. There is a reason this moment feels different from every other word you have heard before. This is not motivation. This is alignment. Something has already been set in motion, and what you are sensing is the echo of a decision heaven has already made. Long before you became aware of it, permission was granted. What remains now is synchronization. Anointed. One divine systems do not move on panic or pressure. They move on readiness. That is why everything in your life seemed to slow down before this acceleration. Delays were not denials, they were filters. God was removing distractions, attachments and dependencies that could not survive where you are being taken. If certain people drifted away, if certain doors closed without explanation, it was mercy disguised as loss. I want to speak to the part of you that learned how to be strong because there was no other option. The part of you that became disciplined because survival required it. That strength did not go unnoticed. Heaven watches endurance closely, not public endurance, but private endurance, the kind no one claps for. That is the currency being honored now. Chosen one. When heaven prepares to release something substantial, it first tests whether your identity is stable. That is why you were stretched emotionally, why you were tested relationally, why you had to confront self-doubt and still move forward. If this blessing arrived earlier, it could have become your identity. Now it will simply become your assignment. There is also something important you must understand. This transfer is not about excess. It is about alignment of influence. God entrusts resources to those who will not be ruled by them. That is why your heart matters more than your ambition. You learned contentment before increase, gratitude before overflow. That order protects you. Anointed one, you may have noticed that lately your tolerance for chaos has decreased. Noise feels heavier. Shallow conversations feel draining. That is because your spirit is shifting frequencies. You are being tuned to discernment. When heaven elevates you, it also sharpens your sensitivity. This is not isolation. It is calibration. Let me share something real. There was a time when I thought clarity would arrive all at once. Instead, it came layer by layer. Each layer required trust. Each layer asked me to move without full visibility. That is how faith actually works. It is not blind, it is responsive. You respond to the light you have, and more light is released. Chosen one. The reason attention matters so much right now is because awareness seals alignment. Heaven responds to conscious participation. When you stay present, when you engage with intention, you are signaling readiness without striving. That posture keeps doors open that effort alone could never unlock. You're not being rushed. You're being invited. Invited to release control. Invited to stop overthinking the process. Invited to let God handle scale while you remain faithful in posture. This is not the moment to question your worth. That has already been settled. This is the moment to agree with what is unfolding. Anointed one. What is happening now will ripple outward. It will touch your household. It will influence how others perceive possibility. It will quietly rewrite narratives that once limited you. That is why humility must remain your anchor. Elevation without humility becomes isolation. Elevation with humility becomes legacy. If you feel a stillness settling over you, that is peace, not the absence of activity, but the presence of assurance. Peace often arrives right before movement. It stabilizes you, so acceleration does not overwhelm you. Let it stay. Do not rush past it. Chosen one, you are not late. You are not behind. You are precisely where timing and preparation meet. What has been building is not fragile, it is established. And what is established does not need force to manifest. It unfolds naturally when alignment is complete. Remain steady, remain open, remain attentive. What is unfolding does not require you to chase it. It requires you to stay aligned with it. And alignment, once achieved, carries you forward with strength, clarity, and authority. Chosen one. There is a sacred responsibility that comes with moments like this. Not pressure, not fear, but stewardship. When heaven draws this close, it is inviting you to walk differently, think differently, and respond with maturity. What is forming around you is not fragile, but it is sensitive. Sensitivity is not weakness, it is precision. Anointed one, understand this clearly. Divine movement often begins quietly. It does not announce itself with noise, it shifts perception first. That is why you may notice your priorities changing. Things that once mattered deeply now feel less important. Things you once tolerated now feel misaligned. This is not confusion. This is refinement. You are being taught how to carry increase without losing yourself. That is why your inner world is being emphasized more than your outer world. Heaven secures the foundation before raising the structure. If the foundation is strong, expansion becomes natural. If it is weak, expansion becomes dangerous. God protects you by building you first. Chosen one. There is also a lesson about patience embedded in this moment. Not passive waiting, but anchored patience. The kind that does not panic when results are not immediate. The kind that trusts process even when outcome is not visible. That patience is not delaying your blessing. It is guarding it. You may have noticed that opportunities have been circling you lately without fully landing. Conversations start, but do not finish. Possibilities appear, and then pause. This is not frustration by accident. It is timing being fine-tuned. Heaven aligns multiple factors at once. When one piece is early, everything waits. When one piece is late, everything adjusts. Nothing is wasted. Anointed one, I want you to release the pressure to prove anything. You do not need to convince people. You do not need to explain your journey. What God is doing will speak for itself. Proof follows obedience, not the other way around. Silence often protects what words would expose too early. There is a reason discretion has been forming in you. You have learned when to speak and when to remain quiet. That discernment is critical. Not everyone who claps for you is meant to walk with you. Not everyone who understands you is assigned to your next season. Wisdom teaches you to recognize alignment without resentment. Chosen one. You are also being invited into a deeper trust with God. Not transactional faith, but relational faith. Faith that rests even when outcomes are still forming. Faith that believes God is good even when the path feels unclear. That kind of faith is rare, and it attracts uncommon results. Let me say this gently. Some of what is coming will require you to say no to good things in order to say yes to God things. Not everything beneficial is aligned. Discernment will help you choose correctly. Alignment will help you choose peacefully. You do not have to rush decisions. clarity will meet you as you stay attentive. Anointed One, notice how your reactions are changing. You recover faster. You respond calmer. You do not spiral like you used to. That is growth. That is evidence that pressure no longer controls you. And when pressure loses control, authority becomes possible. Authority flows from stability. There will be moments ahead where you are tempted to shrink back to stay small because small feels safe. But you were not shaped for comfort. You were shaped for capacity. Capacity to hold influence. Capacity to steward resources. Capacity to lead with humility. That is why your preparation was intense. Chosen One, allow gratitude to remain your posture. Gratitude keeps the heart soft in seasons of expansion. It reminds you where you came from without trapping you there. Gratitude also multiplies what you receive, not because God needs it, but because your spirit responds to it. If you feel both grounded and expectant at the same time, that is alignment. Grounded so you do not drift, expectant so you do not settle. This balance is rare and it is powerful. Stay here. Do not rush ahead mentally. Do not retreat emotionally. Remain present. What is unfolding does not require you to perform. It requires you to remain faithful to the posture you have already built. Obedience brought you here. Trust will carry you forward. And what is ahead will confirm that this season was not imagined, not accidental, and not misplaced. Stay attentive, stay steady. What has begun is being sustained. Chosen One. There is a moment when faith moves from believing to embodying. You are entering that moment now. Belief says God can. Embodiment says God is. And when that shift happens, your posture changes. You no longer chase outcomes. You prepare space. Space in your thinking, space in your schedule, space in your heart. Increase fills prepared space. Anointed One. What you are learning right now is how to remain grounded while things begin to move faster around you. Acceleration does not always feel like excitement at first. Sometimes it feels like unfamiliar responsibility. Sometimes it feels like restraint, not expansion. That is because heaven trusts you enough to move carefully with what carries weight. You may notice that your discernment is sharpening. You sense when something is off, even if it looks good on paper. You feel hesitation where others feel rush. That is not fear. That is wisdom. Wisdom is the quiet signal that keeps you aligned when options multiply. As doors open, discernment becomes more important than enthusiasm. Chosen One. There will be invitations that flatter your ego but drain your spirit. There will be opportunities that promise quick reward but require compromise. This is where maturity speaks louder than ambition. You are not here to collect everything. You are here to steward what is assigned to you. Assignment brings peace. Excess without assignment brings confusion. Let me be honest with you. Growth often reveals how little control we actually have. That realization can feel unsettling at first, but control was never meant to be your safety. Trust is. The more you release control, the more clearly you sense guidance. The more you try to manage outcomes, the heavier everything feels. Lightness returns when surrender leads. Anointed One, there is also healing happening beneath the surface. Old survival patterns are loosening. The need to over-explain, the need to anticipate disappointment, the habit of bracing for loss even in good seasons. These patterns once protected you. They are no longer needed where you are going. God is teaching you to receive without fear. You may find yourself reflecting on past seasons with new compassion. You understand now why certain things had to end, why certain prayers were delayed, why certain doors never opened. What once felt like rejection now feels like redirection. This clarity is not meant to make you regretful. It is meant to make you grateful. Chosen. One, gratitude does not mean minimizing pain. It means honoring growth. You grew because you stayed. You grew because you adapted without losing integrity. You grew because you learned to listen before reacting. That growth is the reason you can now carry what is approaching without being consumed by it. Anointed one, remember this. God does not rush what is valuable. He stabilizes it. Stability is a sign of trust. If things feel steady rather than dramatic, that is intentional. Drama exhausts. Stability sustains. What is being built now is meant to last, not impress. You may be tempted to measure progress by external markers, numbers, titles, recognition. But heaven measures progress by alignment, by peace, by obedience, by the quiet confidence that says, I know where I'm standing. When you are aligned, results eventually follow without force. Chosen one, this season will require you to listen more than you speak, to observe more than you announce, to move intentionally rather than impulsively. That does not make you invisible, it makes you effective. Precision always outperforms noise. There will be moments when you realize how much has changed without spectacle. You respond differently, you think differently, you trust differently. Those are not small changes. Those are signs that authority is settling into you naturally. Anointed one, do not fear responsibility. You have already been carrying it in smaller forms for a long time. This is simply a wider reach, not a heavier burden. God expands reach when the heart is ready to remain clean under pressure. Stay open, stay discerning, stay grateful. What is unfolding is not asking you to become someone new. It is asking you to stand fully in who you have already been shaped to be. And as you do, what is meant for you will meet you without resistance. Chosen one. There is a sacred transition that happens when preparation quietly turns into motion. It does not arrive with noise or urgency. It arrives with clarity. You are stepping into that space now. What once required effort will soon respond to alignment. What once felt heavy will begin to feel intentional. This is not because life becomes easier, but because you are finally moving in rhythm with what was prepared for you. Anointed one, learn to recognize how God speaks in calmness. Loud urgency often comes from fear. Divine direction comes with peace, even when the assignment is large. If something draws you forward without draining, you pay attention. Heaven does not confuse the ones it calls. It confirms them. And right now, confirmation is settling into your spirit layer by layer. You may notice that answers are arriving in ordinary moments. A sentence spoken casually. A thought that lands gently but stays. A sudden sense of knowing without explanation. This is not imagination. This is discernment becoming active. When alignment is near, guidance stops shouting and starts flowing. You are learning how to hear without striving. Chosen. 1. Resist the urge to overanalyze this season. Analysis can become a form of control, and control disrupts flow. You are not meant to figure out every step before you move. Faith responds to what is revealed, not to what is guaranteed. Each step you take creates the ground for the next one to appear. There will be moments when you look back and realize how much has changed internally. You react less, you trust more, you recover faster. That is not coincidence. That is maturity. You are no longer driven by survival. You are led by discernment. That shift is essential for what you are about to steward. Anointed one, allow yourself to trust your instincts again. Not the instincts formed by fear, but the instincts refined by experience. God has been teaching you through lived moments, not theory. Through real pressure, not imagined scenarios. That training cannot be replaced. It has prepared you to move wisely when options increase. As doors begin to open, simplicity will be your protection. Complexity exhausts clarity. Do not overload yourself with unnecessary commitments. Not every opportunity is an assignment. Not every invitation is alignment. Learn to say no without guilt and yes without hesitation. Boundaries are not rejection. They are stewardship. Chosen. One, understand this. Increase does not always arrive as excitement. Sometimes it arrives as responsibility. Sometimes it feels like restraint at first. That does not mean you are doing something wrong. It means what you are carrying has weight, and weight requires balance. God trusts you with balance now. There will be moments when the pressure increases slightly, when expectations feel higher, when decisions feel more consequential. When that happens, return to gratitude. Gratitude grounds you. It reminds you that this did not begin with your effort and will not be sustained by it. Grace expands as assignment expands. Anointed One, divine increase integrates into your life rather than disrupting it. It does not demand chaos. It creates order. When something is from God, it finds its place. It fits. It settles. It does not require constant defense. What requires constant defense was never stable to begin with. You may feel a quiet confidence replacing old anxiety, a steady assurance replacing old overthinking. That is alignment. Confidence rooted in humility is authority. Authority does not rush. It stands. It listens. It moves deliberately. You are being shaped into that posture now. Chosen One. There is nothing you need to force in this season. What is meant for you will recognize you without effort. What is not aligned will fall away without struggle. Your role is not to chase outcomes. Your role is to remain present, obedient, and open. If you feel peace alongside expectation, do not question it. Peace is not the absence of movement. It is the presence of trust. Trust allows you to move forward without fear of loss. What God brings into your life, He also teaches you how to sustain. Remain attentive. Remain surrendered. Remain grounded. What has been preparing you is now beginning to move with you. And as you continue forward, what belongs to you will meet you at the right moment, in the right way, without resistance. Chosen One. There is a sacred calm that settles right before things shift in the visible. It is not emptiness. It is readiness. You are standing in that calm now. What once felt uncertain has been refined into trust. What once felt distant has moved within reach. This is not anticipation driven by desire. This is assurance formed by alignment, anointed. One, understand this truth. God often prepares the heart before He rearranges the landscape. That is why your inner world has been changing quietly. You have been learning to release outcomes without releasing faith. You have been learning to hold vision without gripping control. That balance is rare and it is powerful. There will be moments when you realize that the noise that once surrounded you no longer has authority over you. Opinions feel lighter, pressure feels weaker, expectations from others no longer dictate your pace. This is not detachment. This is sovereignty. You are learning how to stand anchored regardless of what moves around you. Chosen One, when alignment is near temptation, often changes its voice. It no longer sounds like obvious distraction. It sounds like urgency, like rushing ahead, like taking shortcuts, like proving something quickly. Resist that pull. Speed is not always acceleration. Sometimes it is misalignment disguised as momentum. Anointed Patience is not passive in this season. It is intentional. You are choosing timing over impulse. You are choosing clarity over reaction. You are choosing obedience over appearance. Those choices create protection. They ensure that what enters your life stays. Let me ground this in reality. There will be practical steps ahead. Conversations to have, decisions to make, responsibilities to carry. Faith does not eliminate action, it directs it. When God leads, action becomes purposeful rather than frantic. You will know what to do when the moment arrives, because peace will accompany the instruction. Chosen one. Notice how your definition of success has been shifting. It is no longer about proving value. It is about living in alignment. It is no longer about accumulation. It is about stewardship. That shift matters because God entrusts influence to those who will not be consumed by it. Anointed one. There may be people who do not understand this version of you. You are quieter but stronger, slower but clearer, more selective but more effective. Let them misunderstand. Alignment does not require consensus. It requires obedience. Those assigned to your journey will recognize you by fruit, not by noise. There will also be moments when you are tempted to revisit old habits. Overthinking, self-protection, emotional guarding. Those patterns once served a purpose. They helped you survive. They are not meant to follow you into expansion. Release them gently. They do not belong here. Chosen one, as increase approaches, humility must remain your anchor. Not false humility, but grounded awareness. Awareness of where you came from. Awareness of who carried you. Awareness that nothing you are stepping into was earned by perfection. It was entrusted through grace. Anointed one. Grace does not remove responsibility, it empowers it. You will feel moments where leadership is required of you, even if no title is attached. Leadership is not position. It is presence. It is how you respond under pressure, how you speak when others are silent, how you remain steady when others panic. You may sense that your words carry more weight now, that your presence affects environments, that people respond differently when you enter a room. This is not ego. This is influence forming. Influence grows naturally when character and alignment meet. Chosen one, protect your inner stillness. Stillness is not inactivity. It is clarity without noise. When you protect stillness, you hear instruction more clearly. You discern timing more accurately. You move without regret. There is nothing missing. There is nothing delayed. There is nothing wrong. Everything is converging at the right pace. What feels slow is actually precise. What feels quiet is actually intentional. Remain faithful in posture. Remain obedient in the small things. Remain present in the moment. You do not need to announce what is coming. It will announce itself through results. What is unfolding is not fragile. It is established. And what is established does not require force to advance. It moves forward with authority, clarity, and peace. Chosen one, let me add this final layer to anchor what has already been released. As you move forward, resist the temptation to measure your progress by speed. Heaven measures by accuracy. Even small steps taken in alignment carry more power than rushed leaps taken in fear. Trust the rhythm that has been set for you. Anointed one, do not minimize the authority you now carry in quiet moments. Your presence alone shifts rooms. Your silence speaks discernment. Your patience disarms resistance. This is not weakness. This is mastery. Chosen one. There comes a moment when movement no longer feels forced and effort no longer feels heavy. That moment is not the result of striving harder. It is the result of alignment settling into place. You are entering a season where what once required constant pushing now responds to presence and clarity. This is not luck. This is order being restored. Anointed one, heaven does not rush. Heaven positions. What you are experiencing now is not delay, but calibration. Your vision has been sharpened. Your discernment has been refined. Your appetite for chaos has diminished. That is not coincidence. That is preparation for stewardship. God does not release weight without first strengthening the foundation that must carry it. You may notice that certain desires have quieted, not because you gave up, but because they no longer rule you. That is maturity. When desire submits to purpose, provision follows. When intention aligns with assignment, supply becomes inevitable. This is how divine order operates. Chosen one. There is a reason you have been learning restraint. Influence grows faster than character if left unchecked. That imbalance collapses destinies. You are being taught how to move with authority without losing humility, how to receive increase without becoming consumed by it. This training is sacred, anointed. One, remember this truth. God does not reward urgency. He honors obedience. When you move before instruction, you inherit consequences. When you wait for instruction, you inherit covering. You have learned how to wait without fear, and that is rare. That is why what comes next will be stable, not fleeting. There will be moments when opportunity presents itself, wrapped in pressure. Voices may say now or never. Ignore that tone. What is truly meant for you does not threaten you with loss. If you pause, it waits, it aligns, it confirms itself through peace. Chosen one, let me speak plainly. Financial increase is not only about numbers, it is about systems, responsibility, and wisdom. You are not stepping into sudden overflow without structure. God builds containers before He pours. You have been developing discipline in areas others overlook: time management, emotional regulation, integrity in private decisions. Those disciplines create capacity. Anointed one, do not underestimate consistency. Quiet consistency outlasts loud declarations. What you have been doing when no one was watching has been noted. Heaven records obedience even when the earth ignores it. That is why doors are opening without you forcing them. There will be people who attempt to reconnect now that your energy has shifted. Some are sincere, some are curious, some are opportunistic. Discernment is required. Not everyone who recognizes your growth is meant to access it. Boundaries are not walls, they are filters. Chosen one, you may feel a greater responsibility to speak with care. Words matter more now. What you declare carries weight. Speak life, not reaction. Speak vision, not frustration. Your voice is becoming an instrument, not just expression. Anointed. 1. I want you to notice something subtle. You are no longer reacting the same way to pressure. You pause, you breathe, you observe. That is leadership forming. Leaders are not the loudest. They are the most grounded. People trust those who remain steady when outcomes are uncertain. There will be moments when fear tries to reintroduce itself. Not loudly, but gently. It will ask questions disguised as wisdom. What if it does not last? What if you misstep? What if you are not ready? Recognize that voice. Thank it for its concern. Then release it. You are not moving blindly. You are moving guided. Chosen. One, humility will protect what pride destroys. Remain teachable. Remain grateful. Remain aware that every level requires a posture of learning. God resists arrogance but partners with surrender. Anointed One. Your influence will not come from perfection. It will come from authenticity. People respond to truth lived out, not image performed. Your story carries credibility because it includes struggle, waiting, and refinement. As you move forward, resist the urge to explain yourself. Results speak louder than justification. Alignment eliminates the need for defense. Let fruit answer questions. Chosen One, rest in this assurance. What is approaching your life is not fragile. It is anchored. It will not require constant protection or fear-driven maintenance. It will grow naturally because it is rooted deeply. Remain present. Remain obedient. Remain open. You're not behind. You're not late. You are exactly where preparation meets promise. And when the moment arrives, you will recognize it not by noise, but by peace. Chosen One. As this message comes to its close, let your spirit rest in the certainty of what has already been set in motion. You are not leaving empty-handed. You are leaving sealed. This was not information. This was alignment. This was a moment where heaven and earth touched the same second in your life. Anointed One. You are standing in your Kairos moment, the appointed time where preparation meets release. What has been spoken over you is not delayed, reversed, or questioned. A supernatural transfer is already moving. What belongs to you by divine order cannot be intercepted, duplicated, or stolen. Remain steady. Remain grateful. Remain aware. You do not need to chase what has been assigned to find you. Chosen One, walk forward with reverence, not urgency. Let peace be your confirmation. Let clarity be your compass. The doors opening ahead of you will not require force, fear, or compromise. They will recognize you because you are aligned with what heaven authorized. I speak blessing over your mind that confusion dissolves. I speak blessing over your hands that everything you touch multiplies in purpose. I speak blessing over your path that timing and provision meet you without struggle. You are covered. You are guided. You are not alone. Anointed One, carry this moment with you. Protect it with gratitude. Honor it with obedience. If your spirit feels led, you may mark this moment by sharing a word in the comments or by staying connected here so you do not miss what follows. Not as obligation, but as agreement. Go in peace. Stay aligned. What is coming will speak for itself.